Hi everyone, my name is Rand Fishkin. I am the co-founder of Moz and Inbound.org and a small investor in Techstars and Backstage Capital. And I'm here today to help with some stuff on web marketing. So I'm honored to be part of the Apps Without Code live event this year. When I was starting my entrepreneurial journey, which was dropping out of college, starting working with my mom, Jillian, who is my co-founder on Moz, and struggling to discover how we could get any traction whatsoever, how we could build a community of people who cared about what we were doing and attract customers and clients. And then eventually, as we transitioned into software and tools, how could we grow and build and nurture this group of people who are using our software and our tools? And it was nightmarish. It almost killed the company multiple times. I think actually that in fact, many startups die because they can't get customers or enough customers at a low cost of acquisition, right? Without spending a fortune. And as a result, they can't scale their business to a place where it would be profitable or where they can bring on new technology or hire people to help out. And as a result, they die. So I want to help prevent that today. And I'm going to start with some very tactical in-the-weeds stuff around SEO for early-stage startups. And then we're going to spend a little bit of time on 3 marketing investments that I think every early-stage company should make. And this, I think, will help you survive some of those tough times, some of those customer earning journeys that you need to go down. So let's dive in. Before you decide to go invest in SEO and start doing your keyword research and your link building and your content creation and all these wonderful things, you should decide if SEO is actually a great channel for you or not. Now, a few stats about search. So when people are searching, they are saying, I want exactly this thing and I want it right now. And that can be transformative for a business, right? If you are making software to help educators manage their programs and their classes, wonderful, right? When an educator types in, software to help with classes, and you provide that is a fantastic match. The challenge is that for many startups and many businesses, they're doing new things that are not necessarily being searched for yet. And there are a lot of marketing channels that you could spend your time in. So if you go deep down the rabbit hole of search and invest all your time and energy there, you may find that in fact, there wasn't a huge community. So, there's a lot of places to put energy. You could do things in brand advertising or direct sales or sponsorships. You could invest in events or email or press and PR. You might say, hey, we're going to build a content marketing program here or a social media marketing program because we think that's a great way to reach our customers. And search itself can be terrific if, but only if, 2 things are true. 1, your audience is actually searching for your solution or problems that are directly related to it. If they're not searching directly, SEO is probably something you want to push out later stage in your company's life cycle rather than tackle very early on. Why is that? Because later on, you can be much broader in your targeting, right? And count on people who are going to come back to your site 5, 10, 15 times. And what you're trying to build through SEO is brand exposure. But in the early stages, you need channels that convert relatively quickly. First few visits, right? This person wants what I have right now or relatively soon, rather than waiting, months or years for them to come back. B, you need to be able to invest in the things that are critical to the SEO process, and that is content, links, and the optimization process. And you have to be able to do that for months, sometimes even years at a time, with relatively low ROI before it starts accelerating. So many people, tragically many entrepreneurs and marketers view SEO the way they view advertising. And that is crazy. It is crazy. Let me explain. When we're doing advertising, what do, right? We take $10 out of our wallet, we give it to Google AdWords or to Facebook ads. We say, show these ads to people. And then we calculate, hey, did we make $11 on the $10 that we put in? When it comes to SEO, you cannot do that at all. you're going to spend hundreds or thousands of dollars either in-house or with consultants and agencies or with your own time sort of doing the keyword research and building the content and promoting that content and then trying to rank and learning and iterating, right? And this will be slow. You will not rank in the number one position for all the keywords that you care about on day 1 or day 50 or day 100, no matter how much money you put into it, right? This is going to be a slow evolving process. And if you go in thinking, I'm putting $10 in, I want $11 out, you're going to fail, right? You're going to lose. And so you need that patient, slow return process. Let me give you 2 examples. So this is a company called Back to the Roots. They make a water garden. It's called the Water Garden 2.0. What the heck is that? Well, it turns out it's this cool thing where they have like a hydroponics garden for herbs, edible herbs like basil and rosemary and thyme and sage and all these nice things which you might use in your kitchen to cook. And then there's some sort of a filtration system that sits above an aquarium. And it's like a self-reinforcing system. So the plants end up dropping stuff that the fish eat. The fish poop, and then the fish poop is like recycled into the ground of what the plants eat. And so it's this whole like wonderful little ecosystem that runs on its own. Delightful, fun. Who the hell is searching for that? What do you even type in if you wanted that? Well, I'm looking for a thing where the plants eat the fish poop, and they live above the fish. I'm not even sure what I would type in. Maybe it's like a hydroponics meets aquarium solution. I did a bunch of Google searches to try and find it and eventually stumbled on it on page 2, after I had seen it via Product Hunt or something. But this startup, SEO is probably a poor choice because it does not fulfill criteria 1. There is not a big audience of people searching for hydroponic-based aquarium or herb garden plus fish aquarium. It's a cool product. They can probably sell a lot of them. I would bet channels like social and brand advertising, maybe even events, probably a lot of press and PR, maybe even some content could do really well for them. SEO, not so much, right? It's just not there. Now, maybe longer term, as they get bigger, right, they can have a lot of cool things about how to grow herbs, and then people can discover that, oh, there's this thing that I could also do, but I was really planning on doing it in my backyard, but maybe I'll think about it as a present, for my niece in a few months. Okay, right? Long term, I could imagine it. However, another product. This is a waterproof camping tent that basically self-assembles. You sort of set it down and kind of like hit a button and it'll essentially kind of blow up and build up on its own. And you have to do very little. So it's nice for assembly. And apparently it's extremely waterproof. So, has all these benefits. Is this product good for SEO? Or is this a good match with SEO? Yes, it is, because it turns out that tons of people are searching for waterproof camping tent. This one, in a lot of ways, is better than many other camping tents, especially for people who hate building tents, right, out in the wilderness. And so therefore, they can directly serve that audience. And there's tons of other camping-related and outdoor camping-related searches where their product and content around it would have a direct appeal. So even in the very short term, SEO is a great match. You should try and apply the same logic to your own product and company when you decide whether SEO is right for you. All right, let's assume that you've gone through this process and you are the waterproof camping tent, not the water garden 2.0. Next, what do we need to do to get good at SEO? Well, we're going to need to gain a deep understanding of how Google ranks and displays web content, right? And that will give us this sort of understanding of what we need to do. So Google is essentially looking at hundreds, if not thousands, of potential signals that they could use to rank web pages. Much of what Google's ranking systems are now are based on machine learning, which means that lots of these factors go in and then Google sort of seeks the optimal output that makes searchers the happiest. And happy searchers do a few things. Happy searchers don't bounce. Happy searchers don't click on, don't go back to the search results and choose a different result. Happy searchers don't have to go refine their search query. Happy searchers are solved by the first result or the top few results most of the time with very little need to do anything else. And so that is what Google is looking to do. They're looking to solve the searcher's query as best they possibly can. And they're doing it with a lot of factors in there. So a few things that you can do. This is sort of a short and simplified list, but I can invite you to dig in more. There's lots of resources on, well, Moz's website and all over the web. But first off, I would urge you to make pages that are crawlable and accessible. This means avoiding things like, advanced JavaScript that loads after the page loads, right? And you have to be careful about this, especially when building in a non-code-based environment, right? Because you might not have full control, the content management system or the systems that, whatever your contractors or people who have built these systems are doing. Pages that can't be crawled by Google include those that are behind search forms, right? So if all of your content sits behind a search box on your website and someone has to search for something before they can Google will not try and enter every combination of words in the English language to try and discover your content. You're going to have to provide them a link structure to crawl that. Google also hates when content is very thin or low quality. They don't want to rank it. They start to distrust content on the domain. They're not going to put that in their index, right? And they're not going to rank you well, even if you do have some content that's good. Same thing with duplicate content. Oh, we found this page, but there's also 10 copies of the same thing. Some of them are on this other website. Which one should we rank? You don't want to confuse them. You want to make sure that's nailed. Make your site easy to use and fast loading on every device at every speed. Critically important because Google does consider page speed, loading speed a ranking factor. It's a small one, but it matters. And people hate pages that load slowly. I'm sure you've all seen it. You have your mobile device, you click on something, you're waiting, you click the back button, choose a different one. I don't care what was on there. I had to wait 3 seconds, I'm done. Well, maybe 5, right? Create content that solves the searcher's task better than anyone else in the top 10. So if you have words and phrases that you're trying to rank for, waterproof camping tent, for example, go look through who's ranking in Google and try and figure out what is it that a searcher would want to accomplish here? Well, they want to know a bunch of things. They want to know what are the best camping tents out there? What are the general options for me? Like, is size an issue? Is material an issue? Is there comfort issues? Are there building issues? Are there weight issues around carrying it places? Are there some that are better if I'm driving to a place versus hiking to a place? Or what are the terms and phrases that I should be familiar with so that I know when because I've never camped before, right? And I don't know anything about this subject. So you need to teach me all that stuff. So accomplishing the task is not just buying a tent. It's learning about tents, learning about the options, learning about the brands, learning about rough pricing to expect, learning about ratings and reviews, making a decision, making a purchase, making sure that you're happy with the purchase, understanding the return policy. All these things go into solving the searcher's task. And if you can nail that with your content better than anyone else can in the top 10, over time, you will tend to rise in the rankings, assuming you get the rest of this stuff right. Earn more and better links from more unique sites than your competitors. Ooh, that sounds tough. It is tough. This is actually one of the hardest parts of SEO is earning links. And there's lots of techniques and tactics for link building. I won't go into them here, but needless to say, links are still a huge part of how search engines rank pages. They're still a big part of Google's ranking algorithm, and you are going to need editorially given, not paid and bought for. I went to Fiverr and spent $20 on 50,000 links. That will not get you anywhere other than potentially banned, but you will need those links to compete. You want to use the searcher's keywords intelligently on the page, particularly in the title and the meta description and the page's content, but gone are the days of keyword stuffing, and we don't need to be nearly as literal as we used to be around this, which is great. We want to build a brand people recognize and prefer over others. What do I mean by that? Well, when you're looking in the search results and you see Forbes.com, for example, you're searching for something around startups and investing, and you see a result from Forbes. What do you think? I know what I think. I think, God, I really hope there's something from any other website because I hate that damn overlay that they put on with the quote of the day and then some brand advertiser and they make me wait 7 seconds before I can actually click and get to the result. Like, I'd really want to click on any result from any other website. They have built the opposite of a brand. They have built an anti-brand. Granted, they also have built a brand, but I'm saying you want to be recognized and rewarded by searchers and preferred by searchers. You want to have people say, oh, It's like when I do searches in the recipe world. I want to click on SeriousEats.com. I know that I can trust them. I know their process is good. I'd rather click them than pretty much anyone else in the search results. And so they've built a brand. That's what you're trying to do. Next, and last on this list, you want to invest in content that matches the SERPs. What do I mean by SERPs? The search engine result pages that you want to rank in. So when you perform searches on Google today, it's not just 10 blue links that come up. Oftentimes there's images or videos or featured snippets, right? That sort of instant answer up at the top, or results from the news. And so if you're seeing those types of alternative results we call them, by all of these different individual names, but in the SEO world, but if you see alternative types of results in the SERPs, you should absolutely be thinking about how do you optimize for them. If you have a big list of keywords and you see that lots of them bring up images, you need a visual content strategy. You better figure out how you're going to get in those image results. Same with video. See a lot of results from YouTube? Well, we need a YouTube strategy, right? We're going to have to create some content for YouTube. You do that search and you see a lot of stuff from Google News. How do we get into Google News, right? That's key. Okay. Last on this topic, we're going to talk about following an SEO process. So basically, I understand how Google's generally ranking pages, and I'm pretty sure that SEO is right for me. So what do I do, Rand? You're going to start with keyword research. This is the process of uncovering what people search for and how much in my world. So I might say, okay, I make camping tents. I'm going to go to the Google AdWords keyword tool, which is free, or a tool like Moz's Keyword Explorer, or Ahrefs, or SEMrush also have tools in this world. There's a number of other SEO keyword research tools. I'm going to type those in and I'm going to try and find things that are high volume, low difficulty, meaning it's easy for a startup like me to compete, good click-through rate, good organic click-through rate. I want content that isn't being pushed down by tons and tons of ads. And I want to find things that, like this, right, kind of match the content that I'm creating, images or text-only content or videos or what have you. From there, I want to figure out what my customers want. I need to be able to do this, right? Content that solves the searcher's task better than anyone else. So I need deep understanding of my customers. Now I can create the content that targets the keywords and solves the searcher's problem. And that's exactly what we're going to do next. We're going to go create like a keyword to content map. Here's all the keywords I've got. Here's the content that maps those keywords, right? And I've got these 5 keywords which are targeted by this page. And I think this page solves these searchers' tasks better than anyone else. And I have this one and it only hits these 2 keywords, but it's for this page. You're going to build a list like that. You might only have a handful, a very small handful, maybe only even 1 page to start with your SEO process. But over time, you'll build and build, right? And then we're going to figure out some way to do promotion and link building. My best tip on this: you need a great answer to the question, who will help amplify this and why? If you build a page that is an awesome page about waterproof camping tents, but it is entirely self-promotional for your brand, and it never even mentions another option out there, pretty tough to get people to amplify that. Unless you have a ton of people who love your brand and are already bloggers and influencers and active on Twitter and Facebook, and they just want to promote you, it's going to be hard. But if you build a great waterproof camping tents page that shows off a lot of different brands and compares and contrasts them, even people who don't love you might want to amplify that. If you have one that has a bunch of data about what % of tents leaked in hurricane force winds and didn't, right? Or what % had these types of problems, what % were returned year over year, the press, right, might actually pick that up and write about it, especially in camping and outdoor related magazines and publications. So promotion and link building is our next process. From there, we're going to learn, right? We've launched this content out in the world. We've hoped that it ranks. We're going to study the metrics, identify weak and strong points, and then learn and iterate on that. And from this, we're going to go back to our keyword research process and begin all over again. And this is basically how SEO works. With one caveat, if you already have an established website that has a lot of content on it, chances are good you might need to do some auditing of that, right? Learning from these metrics, identifying problems, and running through this process. Okay. Great. This is about all I can do in a few minutes on SEO, but there's a lot more to learn. So if you would like, I urge you to check out a few resources. Moz has this great beginner's guide to SEO. I've also got some free classes on Skillshare around learning SEO, specifically for entrepreneurs, and you can check those out. So next up, I want to chat about 3 marketing investments every startup should do to earn early customers. And I'm going to take a very strategic approach to this. So this is not a tactical like, oh, you can publish on Medium and then republish on your own site. There's plenty of time for that. What startups need is strategic approaches to marketing. The first thing I'm going to recommend that so few startups do or do well is to actually uncover and understand the people and publications that influence your customers the most. You can do this through surveys or through conversations, through studying them online, through watching their behavior, but you need this desperately so you know where to put your dollars and your time. If you have a target audience, you need great answers to the question, what social networks do they actually use? Is it just Facebook? Are they on Instagram or Twitter or Pinterest or Reddit? Or do they spend time on a Q&A site, maybe like a Quora? Are they professionals who use LinkedIn a lot? What accounts do they follow on the social networks they do use, like Instagram or Twitter? What Facebook pages have they liked and are they subscribed to? What channels do they follow on YouTube? What blogs do they read? What events do they attend? What offline publications? What magazines do they maybe check out? Are they big watchers of some television program, right? Do they listen to a particular set of podcasts? If you can find these things, you can invest your dollars and your time really, really wisely from a channel perspective. And if you don't know this, it's much more difficult. The problem that a lot of startups encounter is that they feel like they have to do everything on this list, and you don't. In fact, you need to focus more than anything else. Focus your marketing investments on the areas where you can do a great job and where your audience is actually paying attention. And if you can find areas of weakness among your competitors too, that's even better. Second, I want you to start a marketing flywheel. I don't want you to start a growth hacking program. Here's the difference. So growth hack is basically, I am doing this one thing, this one time that I think will, totally change the trajectory of our marketing. And very often those things fail. And even if they don't initially, over time, they tend to trend downward, right? They're hacks. They don't provide long-term ongoing value. They're very one-minute slight solution. A marketing flywheel is sort of the opposite, right? A flywheel is essentially very hard to turn at first, but over time it scales with decreasing friction. So I'll give you, here's what we do at Moz, right? We do a lot of publishing, we're sort of a content and SEO flywheel here, which is not to say this is the only way to do it. You can do it with press, you can do it with advertising, you can do it with a lot of things. But we're content and SEO focused, and so we start with keyword research and industry intuition. We publish content on our blog. We amplify that content right to our social channels, to our email audience, and then we grow our audience through increased reach and more links, right, and more people paying attention to what we're doing. And as a result, we grow our authority. Now we can rank for a broader set of keywords and rank a little better for the keywords we were already ranking for. And then we learn. We learn what people like and didn't like, what they engaged with and didn't, and we apply that learning next time. And for years, from 2004 until probably 2006, I was terrible at this. I was blogging 5 nights a week, Sunday through Thursday night, every night, just me, blogging, trying to do this. And I mostly sucked at it. You can go back and read the posts. Terrible. But over time, I got better and better and better, right? And that each revolution was easier than the last one, right? Each set of revolutions was easier than the last one and more productive too. And that is what I'm asking you to build. You need to find your flywheel that can scale with decreasing friction. So you invest in press and PR. Is it going to be easier to contact journalists next time than it was last time, or to find the people you need to reach out to? Is it going to be easier to do direct sales next time than it was last time? Yeah, because you've learned, what things didn't work with customers and did. Is it going to be easier to get value from events? Yes, because, you're speaking at better and better events, and you have a better idea of what topics resonate with people, and when they come away, what they like from you, and how to sponsor things, all that. So this model is something startups desperately need. Last one, compare where your competition gets their traffic versus where your customers go to solve their problem. So if you know what influences your customers and what sort of activities they're doing, right? Are they searching or spending time on social media or consuming a lot of content or going to events or whatever it is, right? You can see something like, this is an imaginary Venn diagram, but one that conveys the sentiment, which is, 40% of our audience, when surveyed, said they would use Google to solve our problem, right? Searching for camping tents or whatever it is. And our competitor ranks for about 30% of the keywords we would target to reach people around this issue. Amazing, awesome. Now you know there's opportunity here, and you know that the competitor doesn't touch on, Instagram, which a bunch of other people said they follow in the camping world to learn about new products. Okay, terrific, right? This is great. Now I know where opportunity sits, and now I can apply this to my marketing tasks and my checklist. All right, everyone. I hope you're having an amazing time at the Apps Without Code live event. It's been thrilling to join you, and I will see you, hopefully, around the web. I'm on Twitter @RandFish, and I'm happy to take questions. Thanks so much. Take care.